Hey folks, welcome to another session of Regalia and Chill for our deck profile. A lot of you people have asked for an update on my Gill Lapis deck, so I'm going to actually delve into some updates that I've done for the deck list over the past week. I came in first at locals, 4-round Swiss. It's handling pretty well against the meta right now, so I'm going to show you a quick rundown of what I've changed so far and maybe a few basic tips and reasons for my card selection. So first up, we still have the same ruler. We have Gill Lapis, Conquer Regalia. If you guys didn't know from last time, it's just black, red, and 6. It gets reduced by 1 for each card removed from your opponent's grave. He has an Energize for black and red, and then 0, you can target something only on your turn. When that card leaves the field, if it's a non-magic stone card that you've targeted, it gets removed. His flip side is for 0, you can send a card from your remove from play pile that your opponent controls back to the bottom of their deck, and it gains one of the symbol skills of swiftness, precision, flying, and first strike. And then his X ability, where you can actually choose a card in your opponent's remove from play pile, play it for that cost, pay X, pay 2. You can play any of their resonators that cost 2, it doesn't matter the specific color or type. As long as it meets the speed requirement, you can play it appropriately. And then you can pay red, black, and then remove 2 non-stone cards from your opponent's remove from play pile to the bottom of their deck, and it can destroy a resonator that you target. 1,000 attack, 1,000 defense, and it's red and black. So moving on to the resonators, I decided to stick with 3 Valentina, Twilight Passion. So she's really essential for your late game plays. She's a big body. At first, when she enters the field, she can choose a card, choose a resonator that's 2 or less from your opponent's field and remove from the game. Anything she battles from there on gets removed also, which is great utility for setting up Gill Lapis. Also, using the 0, her 2 0 abilities, one you can just place a remove from play card from their remove from play pile to the bottom of the deck to give her a symbol skill of either swiftness or precision. You can do both. Or you can use her second 0 ability, which is just putting the 3 remove from play cards that are not stones to the bottom of their deck to give her +5/+5. And you can continuously do that as long as you have the correct targets and right ammo to do all that. Moving on, 2 Abduls. I'm keeping 2 in just for the decks like Lumia Hook and stuff that has a lot of on the field trigger abilities. So he's not too necessary right now in this format, but he's still pretty good. 1 Nyarlathotep for Awakening ability, so either remove an opponent's resonator from play or cast a red or black spell chant from your hand without paying its cost. And then 1 Elsaris. All he does is when he enters, swiftness, he costs 5, and then you can cast one of your remove from play cards that is a red spell of 3 or less without paying its cost. It's really good for late game, and he's a good 5-drop for just being able to attack and put in damage and then cast one of your spells that get removed from Barrier Seal, which I'll explain later on. 1 Blazer, swiftness, flying, and then at the end of the turn, to keep him on the field, you got to put a card from remove from play from your opponent's remove from play pile back to the bottom of their deck. If not, he gets sent to the graveyard, and then you can pay 6, including 2 red and 2 black to bring him back from the graveyard to your field. So I only play 1 because I play this incorporates Barrier Seal. 3 Dark Purge just to get rid of resonators and rulers. It's very versatile. I was playing Burn to Cinders, but I decided to change to Dark Purge because I felt like it had more options and it's cheaper to cast for just black and 1. And then 3 Lightning Strikes for either damage or resonator pings and J-Ruler pings. 3 Scorn of Dark Alice to discard a resonator from your opponent's hand for turn 1 plays also. Soul Hunt also is pretty good for a turn 1 play to target resonator removal. And you can 2 for 1 if you're going second or if your opponent has a resonator and a card in their hand. 3 Barrier Seal. This is the pure gas for the deck. White, red, 2-drop. Everything gets removed from the beginning of the game when it's either sent to the graveyard or just your graveyard in general just gets placed into the remove from play pile. So maybe around like turn 5 or turn 6, it comes in it gives you a lot of utility to work with. and makes Gill Lapis a lot faster to J-activate. I'm also playing 3 Lapis Darkstorms for discard, 3 Unending Hatreds, another one for discard, and if you control a red and black, you can choose both, which can also destroy all the 1-drops your opponent controls. I'm only playing 2 Nameless Mists for discards, and I feel like it's good for a late game when you're trying to make a huge play. You can actually cast this before making your play, and hopefully discarding the 1 spell card out of their hand that could potentially stop you. 2 Amateraz's Foresights for the Prisia hate, most likely, and for the decks that are a lot faster than you, since you do have to set up. I've been playing 2 of them to just kind of like save you for that extra turn, and you know, gives you that ability to fight back, and hopefully you survive the damage. 2 Death Scythe also for Prisia. Also, it's good for your for Lapis when he flips. You can give him a boost, and for Soul Hunt early in the game to discard. 1 Black Moonbeam for ruler-centric decks. 1 Endless Night for just spot removal. That's also blanking the field for -2/-2. And then 1 Lumia's Judgment. It removes everything from it's red, white, X. So you just pay X. Whatever you pay gets removed from the field. So if you pay nothing for X, you can just remove any of your 0-drop Regalias in the field. If you pay 1, you just remove everything that's 1 or less. So it's pretty good for Gill. And then 1 Schrodinger's Observation, which allows me to just literally choose to either destroy a huge resonator and gain some life, or I can just hit you directly for damage and then gain life. So it's kind of like an alternate win con late game, but it's also good removal for early game, and you can gain life. For stones, I just played 4 Magic Stone of the Ebon Home. It's Lapis' main stone to play, so you need to play 4. Red-black, black-white, Magic Stone of Heaven's Rift. Play 4 of them just to make sure that I hit white by turn 2, more than likely. And then 2 Magic Stones of Scorched Bales, red and black, just to hit that red, because red and black is just the most color-centric of the deck. And quick side deck, I played 3 Barrier of Shadows for rulers and Regalia decks, 2 Bedivirs for, you know, Fox and like big Resonator decks. It can just remove and play. 2 more Black Moonbeams to destroy rulers. And 2 Fairy of Sacred Visions for people that side in a lot of additions against you. 1 Horn for the more non-ruler centric decks, because you're going to be playing the waiting game. This can help you out a lot, especially against even Mary matches. Just like shuffle your deck in, and it gives your J-Ruler a boost. Another Lumia's Judgment. Arthur for black and red control decks. They just have a really hard time getting rid of them. Another Nameless Mist for non-Resonator heavy decks. And another Schrodinger's for really fast decks, just in case I need to gain life. It kind of just does both. It can kill things and just gain you life at the same time. And 1 more Abdul for decks with a lot of enter abilities, such as like Hook and Lumia, like I said, or Fox. If you're just gonna, you're gonna see a lot of enter effects, just might as well throw 1 in. Yeah. So overall, the deck played pretty well throughout the tournament. I actually faced mostly meta decks, and I played around 1 white control, which was very easy. If you're playing against a Resonator Rush deck or just a Resonator Beatdown, you're probably going to have a really decent matchup because you have so much spot removal. Then round 2, I played against, I believe, Prisia. Prisia control, which, I mean, I drew the right cards at the right time. I was able to get rid of the Prisia, and then I was able to stop his Resonators early on. It probably just depends on their package overall, if they're able to get the cards that they need or not. But you do have a lot of removal for the early part of the game, and then I even main 2 Scythe and 1 Moonbeam. So I was able to hit the Prisia pretty easily. Round 3, I played against Alhamat. That match was actually pretty easy itself also, because they're interacting with you a lot more than you think. They're basically searching spells and trying to get off of Resonators that you control and trying to win through like Steam Explosion and just grinding out the game. Because your deck can grind out too, you can actually play the waiting game with them, and then that's when you just side in cards like Horn and Burn spells, and then you just rip cards out of their hand. Because that deck is just a bunch of combos by itself, you should have a pretty easy time against it. there's a lot of stuff that the deck can do, and you're mostly just focusing on making sure that things get removed from play. Playing with 3 barrier seals really hurts a lot of decks because a lot of things require graveyard conversion, and barrier seal actually stops a lot of plays like that. So barrier seal being on the field actually solves a lot of problems against the meta right now, and I actually think that's one of Gill Lapis's unique way of having some sort of advantage in the meta right now. Even though he's tricky and he's very up in the air right now, and he's kind of, like I said from the other video, a glass cannon per se. But other than that, I was able to 2-0 Gill on that, and then I played another Persia deck, which I was able to beat also with three matches. I mean 3 games out of that match. Game 1, I was able to beat him. I got rid of his strategy. Game 2, he was able to just rush me in, and I just couldn't do anything. And then Game 3, I was able to get rid of the Persia, and then I enabled myself to just get rid of his hand and just go in for the kill. And I mean, getting Gill on board is really strong regardless. If you're able to get him on board and he's able to stay alive for a couple of turns, you're gaining control pretty fast. So I'd recommend people to continue picking up this deck and continue playtesting with him. He might not have a particular build of interest towards like the meta as being competitive right now, but he definitely isn't he's definitely not a terrible ruler to choose from, and you play black, so you always have a way to disrupt people, and you play red, so you definitely have a bunch of ways for win cons, and I influence people to continue trying to work on them. But other than that, I'm going to continue working on it, and I expect a little more future changes, but I'm getting the hang of the build that I'm trying to produce right now, and I'm going to stick with that kind of build. And if you might see me in some matches more often for our videos, but I'd like you guys to stay tuned, and hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Like, comment, and subscribe.